Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel, where I share a lot of topics around why the law of attraction is an idea that is incomplete. Today is part one of a five-part series that I am giving around living a creative structure. And this part one is acknowledging the problem structure. The problem structure is something about 99% of the world live in. And for those of us that practice the law of attraction, in our experience, sometimes we work really hard to get what it is that we want, thinking that we're doing the right thing. We're doing affirmation, we're doing mantras, we're meditating all day, or whatever the case may be. You're doing what you believe is necessary to leverage the law of attraction to create what it is that you want. Unfortunately, what many of us don't realize is we're trying to do it from what's called a problem structure, which means that we are focused on what it is that we don't want while trying to create what we do want. So, for example, if we don't have enough money, we decide we want a different experience, we want more money. So we move from not having enough money and using the law of attraction to try to get more money. And while it works, in essence, you're going to get snapped back to the original situation of not having enough money. Why? Because that is where your body is vibrating with. You did it from that base, from that foundation. It's the same thing of being single. If you are single, how many times have you tried to go on relationships? How many times have you tried to date other people just to find out this relationship not working, that relationship not working, this relationship not working? So the law of attraction is doing its job to bring it to you, but for some reason you can't keep it into your experience. And the whole reason why this is happening is because you're in a problem structure. So I really hope that you get some enlightenment from today's presentation, and I hope that you can continue to be with me every week while I expand on this topic. So without further ado, we will present Living in a Creative Structure, Part 1, Acknowledging the Problem Structure, on behalf of the Magical Mind. So you can have it all now and still create everything you desire. But many don't. Most of us don't do this. Why? How is it that we can have everything that we want now? We can be anything that we want. We can have anything that we want, but we don't. It's not an experience. We're still single. We still don't have enough money. We're still overwhelmed. We're still dealing with all the things that we don't want to deal with. And why is this if we're able to have it now? And the reason is because most of us are in what's called the problem structure. Now, what exactly is a structure? A structure is a group of parts that are working together to create something. So let's say, for example, a rocking chair. A rocking chair is made of wood. It's a structure, and the structure, it moves back and forth. And no matter how many times you push it, it's going to push back. Why? Because that's the structure it's in. Now, if you take that same material, the wood, and you put it in a structure of a fence, the fence is not going to rock back and forth, right? Because the structure it's in is stuck. It's a stuck structure. It stays exactly where it is. Now, I could take the same wood and I could create a baseball bat. And I could take that baseball bat and I could throw it, and it does move. That's the structure that it's in. So the structure is simply a group of parts that are together to create a simple structure. In the problem structure, the way that this works, we are giving our power away to conditions and circumstances we want to avoid, rather than focusing purely on what it is we want to create, what it is that we desire. So, for example, when you think you don't have enough money and you go out to get money, you are doing it from the place that you don't have enough money. You have given your power away to not enough money, and you're going out to get more. Or when you say, I don't want to be single, I want to have a relationship, you have given your power away to not being single. So in essence, you will always be snapped back to the original idea or the original place that you've given your power to. You're focusing on the problem. And when you focus on problems, all you're going to have is more problems. And it's so funny because we're in a society where it says, focus on the solution, not the problem. How many times have you heard that? Well, guess what? The solution is just the other side of the same coin. You cannot have a solution without a problem. You're still focusing on the problem. Before we go further into this presentation, I want to explain what consciousness is, and I'd like to share this with every presentation that I do, because it's very, very important to understand exactly what this is, because a lot of people get confused as to where their focus is. Now, your consciousness is purely awareness. Right now, you're aware of this presentation, you're aware of me speaking, so there are thoughts coming up based on what you're listening and what you're hearing of this awareness, this subject. We choose to describe it in 3 different ways. So the first is the self-conscious. This is your thinking part of your brain. This is the rationalization part of the brain. It's also part of the ego. Now, it's very important to understand that your conscious thoughts only make up 5% of 100% of your thoughts, 5%. Out of the 40 billion thoughts that are running through your mind, you don't even see them. 40 billion thoughts running through your mind on a daily basis, and you're only aware of 2,000. The reason why you're aware of 2,000 is because those are the 2,000 thoughts that have the most power. Those are the ones that you've chosen to bring up into your consciousness. Those are the ones that have the most power. So it's really important to pay attention to your thought, because that's exactly what's coming up, what's running the system. And what happens is a lot of people think, well, I'll just ignore my thoughts. I just won't pay attention. And that's highly unrecommended, because what happens when you're doing that, you ignore it, you're actually giving them more power because you're letting them be. So you only 2,000 thoughts, that's it, out of 40 billion. The second part of the consciousness is called the superconscious. And this is a little bit more challenging for some people to grasp, but the superconscious is basically a big field of energy. It's your higher intelligence, it's the infinite intelligence, your higher self, the highest power of the mind source. We are all connected. You've heard of the phrase, we are all one. So the superconscious energy is what connects us all. It's a field of energy that gives us information, and it's the highest available information that's out there. The unconscious, the third part, is based in feelings, and this is 95% of what's going on inside of your mind. You are unaware of what exactly is going on. You're only aware of 5%, and those are the ones that have the most power that you see. The other 95% that did was running the show. So the 5% thought that you are receiving is coming from the 95%. It's from the belief that you carry. It's from the experiences that you've been through. And sometimes you don't even know where the thoughts are coming from. A thought will pop up, well, where did that come from? Well, it came from a place from your unconscious. Your unconscious is very trainable. It is learned, and it may be the key to all of our mind's powers. And we only get to do the things that our unconscious believes are safe for us. And this is something very, very important to understand. When we are born, from the time we're born to about 4 years old, our unconscious mind is developing. And when we get into the environment, we start to make decisions based on the experiences that we're having. Mom gets upset if I do this. Dad gets happy when I do that. If I do this, this happens. If I do that, that happens. So we start to make judgments, and we start to basically change our experience based on what we deem as safe. And as we get older, the only thing that the unconscious will ever allow us to do are the things that keep us safe. So if you have experienced scarcity, if you have experienced trauma, if you have experienced anything in your life up until this point, those are the only thing that the unconscious is ever going to allow you to do. Why? Because otherwise it seems unsafe. It is a threat to the unconscious. It is a reason why, let's say, for example, if you want to speak on stage, if I were to tell any one of you watching right now that tomorrow you're going to speak on stage in front of 3,000 people, I can imagine a lot of you are like, oh no, we're not doing that. Your unconscious is gonna freak out. Why? Because it's not safe. You could hurt yourself, you could break a leg, you could embarrass yourself. You can, okay, whatever the reasons are that might come up is fear. And that fear comes from the belief that you might die. If your unconscious does not feel safe in any shape, form, whatever, even if the situation is 100% safe, it's going to throw up all sorts of feelings, self-doubt, shame, guilt, frustration, or overwhelm to get you to make the decision to stay the same. It will never allow you to experience anything new because it's unsafe. So it feels it's unsafe. But the minute that you decide to do the new thing, the minute that you do it, that's why they call it the leap of faith. The minute you jump and say, well, you know what, it is safe, I'm going to do it, Then the unconscious learns. And the second time you do it, it gets a lot easier. I'm sure many of you might have had that experience before. One thing that's really important to remember, if you haven't heard this before, this is something that's really, really important to understand. Everything in the universe is always created twice. It's created once in the invisible, which is in the mind. Then it created in the visible, where you're able to see it, taste it, smell it, touch it, feel it. There is no reason at all why you cannot have everything that you want right now. Everything is created first in the invisible. And what does that mean? Well, that means you daydream. You dream about what it is that you want. You get into the feeling, you get into the emotion. You start to feel that relationship that you would love to have. What would it feel like to be in a relationship? And if you're single right now, I want to challenge you with something, because you actually are in a relationship right now. You're in a relationship with yourself. So the number one thing is to start to fall in love with yourself. Start to really understand and embrace the relationship you have with yourself. And once you get into that vibration of love and support and the wonderful energy that comes with that, all of a sudden you could be eating dinner one night and the love of your life could walk into the door. And then all of a sudden you're a match. You have to create it first in the invisible in order for it to manifest. And it's the same thing with money. What did it feel like to have all of the money that you could ever have? What does it feel like? How would you feel? What would you enjoy the most? What thought would you be thinking? What is the emotion that you would be feeling? And you've got to conjure up that emotion to be able to create it. That's the only way that you could be a match. It had to be created twice. It's first in the invisible, and then it's a match. This is where the law of attraction works in your favor. This is where the law of attraction says, okay, you want more of that? I will give you more of that. Then it can be created. So are you in the problem structure? How do you know? You have to ask yourself, what am I not allowing to exist? And what am I really avoiding? Now, this might take some time to journal, to really, to have some deep introspect to, okay, what is it that I'm really not allowing into my experience? And I know for me, it was being broke. I really don't want to be broke. I think that's probably the worst feeling I could feel is when I need something and I don't have the money in my bank account. So for me, I was avoiding that situation. And unfortunately, it was showing up in my reality more times than I'd want to admit. And it's a really frustrating process. And I'm thankful for this information. I realized, oh my goodness, I am avoiding being broke. It's that I don't want to be broke. So what was happening is, because my body is focusing on that, I was creating more and more of it in my experience, even though I'm making choices and decisions to do something differently. Those were solutions to a problem. I was focused on the problem statement. So what was you never allowed to exist? So here's some examples. Being broke or not having enough. How about being overwhelmed? Some people don't like to be overwhelmed, so they're avoiding it at all costs to stay calm in every situation. How about being called lazy? That's another one. I never wanted anyone to call me lazy, so I made sure that I worked my butt off in every single thing that I did, so no one can ever turn around and say, well, that didn't work because you're lazy. I couldn't tolerate that. What about being unhealthy? A lot of people go to the gym. They work out, they go on diet, they restrain themselves, so much rigidness and making sure they eat the right behavior. I don't know about you, but I've heard of people that do all of the right things health-wise, and then they have a heart attack at the age of 45. And then there's people that eat whatever they want, and they live to be 106 years old. And you wonder, what is going on here? How about being unsuccessful? Being single, losing control, being judged, letting your family down. And these are just some examples. The question to ask yourself is, what will I avoid at all costs? What is my unconscious scared of being true about me? Because if I'm single and I go to get a relationship, I might actually get what I want. I might actually be enough. And sometimes the unconscious is like, we can't be enough because we have survived not being enough. So we can never be enough. So I'm terrified of being enough. So I'm going to make decisions to make sure that we are always not enough. And remember, it running 95% of your thoughts, you're only aware of 5%. So what it's delivering to you out of the 95%, it's only delivering to you what it feels to be safe. A lot of us take a thought for granted. A thought pops up and we accept it. Or we say, how can I make this work? And the thought comes and we accept it and we go give it a try without even realizing that the thought is coming from a problem. We don't understand it. So it's crucial to be aware. It's crucial to tell yourself, what is it that I am avoiding before you start to accept the thoughts as they come into your mind and making the decision. Okay. If you are worried about the existence of a certain condition, you have given it your power. Worry is negative prayer. Your thoughts do become things. And when you worry, you are in essence creating fear. You are giving all of your power to this powerless structure. You're giving all of the power to the condition. You are a victim of the circumstance. This puts you in the problem structure. And you would only create more of what you want to avoid. And it's kind of a catch-22 because the idea that you're getting, it seems like I want more money. And I make the observation, I don't have enough money, I want more money. It seems that when you go out to get a job, it's a smart decision, right? Or to go open a business or to get more clients. It seems like the smart solution that's fixing the problem. But there's the issue because you're fixing a problem. Your focus is on the problem. So then the law of attraction is going to help you a little bit. You'll move forward and you'll get some traction on where you want to be. But then you will always, always snap back to the problem because that is where all of the power is. So here's the truth. You are a prisoner to the condition you are not allowed to exist. And here's the irony of it. You're a prisoner to a situation that is not allowed to exist, but then it literally owns you and it's going to manifest anyway, because that is where your power is. You put all of your power into whatever it is you don't want to avoid. So then the thoughts that come up are solutions to that problem that you are trying to avoid, which is only going to bring more problems. It starts to bring a variety of issues in your experience. It'll be something different, and you'll think you make progress, and then you'll go back again. And then you'll go forward thinking you're making progress, and you go back. It's an oscillating structure. And that's the structure of a problem structure. You go forward and back and forward and back. And it's a never-ending process, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world because the law of attraction, what they tell you in a lot of these resources, they do not tell you about the problem structure where your focus is really. They only tell you what to do to fix the problem. Do affirmation, do more meditation, think positive, do positive thinking all day, every day. You're not feeling good, you're not thinking good enough thought. And all of that is a half truth, all of it. You are not starting from the right structure. You are starting from a problem structure. So if you allow failure, if you allow it into your experience, if you tell yourself this, it's a possibility and it's okay. It's okay. If you allow it, you will succeed more. If you are not worried about being broke, you will finally be rich. If you allow yourself to feel overwhelmed, if you allow yourself to feel anger, if you allow yourself to feel whatever emotions you're going through, you will break through. If you are okay with being single, you know what? I'm genuinely okay. I am an awesome person. I have a great relationship with myself. I love being single with me. There's all kinds of good things that come out to being single because you have control over yourself. You don't have to worry about the other person and how they're feeling. You can do whatever it is that your heart desires. And when you get into that space, you can finally find the love that you desire when you're in synchronicity with each other. If you can let go of control, you can finally find real safety. If you're allowed to disappoint your family, you can always find yourself. You can finally find yourself. If you're allowing yourself to go through whatever it is that you're avoiding, you can finally get the idea to help you create what it is that you really want instead of avoiding the problem. This is one of my favorite quotes. If you don't know Dr. Wayne Dyer, I highly recommend you look him up. He's one of my favorite mentors that I have had the pleasure of reading and really understanding his work. Peace is the result of training your mind to process life as it is. So no judgment. It is what it is, rather than as you think it should be. And when I think about this statement, it makes so much sense because how many of us are driven to being victim by circumstance? How many of us react to situations? We don't like that, so we start getting emotional. Or we do like that, we start getting emotional. We're driven by the circumstance instead of really making peace with, okay, that was creative. That's good. It is what it is. Now, how can I create differently? There's a very interesting perspective in the way to look at things. If you are worried about the existence of a certain condition, you have given it your power. This keeps you in a powerless structure, also known as a problem structure. Again, you will only create more of what you want to avoid. So how do you get out of the problem structure? This is ingrained in us. Society has taught us and drilled in us, fix the problems, focus on solutions. So how are we supposed to get out of it? This is something that's really challenging. And it's really simple. It really is. The first step is awareness. You've got to find the awareness of when the thought comes, is this thought from a problem structure? Am I trying to avoid something? Ask yourself questions. Stop and really think about where it's coming from. Get the awareness. Then when you have the awareness and you realize, okay, I'm unhappy with the current situation. This is where the thought's coming from. I'm trying to fix something. Slow down and really think about what it is you're thinking about. And when you get to that point, you make a peace with the situation. This is where it gets really easy because you brought your awareness into, okay, this is where it's coming from. It's coming from a problem. And I don't want to create some problem because then that just creates more problem. So you make your peace with the situation because now you know where it came from. Okay, cool. It is what it is. All right, so I made a decision and those bad business decisions or bad relationship decision, I missed some red flags, I missed some whatever. All right, cool. No big deal. Make your peace and realize it is what it is. Now you're going to switch your focus to what it is that you want. So for example, not having enough money, you got bills piling up. And it's obviously an uncomfortable situation. But you know what? You get into the now you're okay. You have a roof over your head. You got food in the refrigerator. You've got a bed that you sleep in. You start to shift your focus on the thing that bring you abundance. I'm talking to you right now over Wi-Fi. So if you're listening to the YouTube presentation, you have Wi-Fi. 100 years ago, a billionaire couldn't even get Wi-Fi. We have things now for free that a billionaire couldn't even get 100 years ago. So we can find the abundance. We can shift our focus and find the abundance and find what it is that we really want. Then once you do that, you find and live the emotion of your end result. Now, this is the part that many people miss. This is the part where the law of attraction is an idea that's incomplete because they talk a lot about feeling. Feelings don't do anything. Feelings are an indication of the thought that you are thinking. And yes, it can actually add to the law of attraction as well. But what really gives it the gas pedal is the emotion. It's the emotion that you feel, the joy, the happiness, the gratitude. You find that emotion. So when you step into the end result of what it is that you want, so if it's a relationship, if you're single, you step into what kind of emotion would you be feeling genuinely when you have that person next to you that you just love so much and you just have the most wonderful relationship with them. What is that? What does it feel like? And what emotion are you feeling? Is it happiness? Is it joy? Is it satisfaction? Eagerness? Love? And it's the same thing with money. You put yourself in that situation. How would you feel? What would be the emotion of the end result of having overflowing bank account, having more than enough money, having so much money that you can spend it, give it away as you wish, and still have a lot left over. What is the emotion? So many of us have trained the unconscious to accept what is, and we don't like it. We're fighting it. Our consciousness is fighting the very part of us that's trying to keep us safe. It's a battle. So when we accept it and we say, it's okay to have money. It's safe to have money. It's okay to have a wonderful relationship. It is safe. And we visualize it and we get ourselves into the end result. Your life will start to shift. Now you're in the creative structure. So it's important to remember that your unconscious will never, ever allow you to experience new things. And I'll say that again. Your unconscious will never, ever allow you to experience new things because it thinks it's unsafe. It is a threat. It is something you've never done before. They will do this even when it is perfectly safe, even when it's a situation where there's no reason why it could ever go wrong. The unconscious will give you many reasons why it would, because it won't allow it. It wants you to stay the same. Because change is scary to the unconscious. You might die. That's what the unconscious is feeling. So you have to train the unconscious to work with you instead of against you. The unconscious is not your enemy. The unconscious is very much an ally. And you can actually train it to work with you because once you shift the mind, remember, it started once in the invisible and then in the visible. So once you create it in the invisible, the unconscious says, oh, okay, this feels good. Yeah, I can do this. And you've got to do it long enough and high enough for the unconscious to be okay with it. Then you have your peace and you're getting ideas, and it starts to give you, from the 95% of the thought that's running in here, it starts to give you those that will create what you want instead of creating what you don't want. Now, I'd like to walk you through a visualization exercise. It's a very short, very quick visualization exercise. It's very, very effective. And it's a closed eye process. So if you would just get a moment and start thinking about what it is that you want to create, and just pick one thing. So if you want a relationship, or if you want more money, or if you want whatever it is that you desire, I want you to pick one thing. And we're going to work on focusing only on that one thing. Okay. So you're going to close your eyes. And you're going to focus 100% on what you would like to create. 100%. So let's work on money. You can work on money. If it's a relationship, you can do that as well. Step into this reality. Really step into the experience. Step into having more money than you could ever imagine. What would that feel like? What emotion would you be feeling? Step into the relationship, having the most charming relationship you can imagine, the most wonderful one. Notice what life would be like if you had these. Think about all the money you need. It's right in front of you. Think about the relationship. It's right in front of you. Really, really, really experience it. Really experience having access. Experience having more than enough. Experience having all of the love that you can imagine. The compassion, the understanding. You have so much money to do whatever it is that you choose. What would you do if you had all of the money? What would you do if you had the relationship of your dream? See your vision as being complete. See yourself living that moment where you are best friend with the teller at the bank because you keep making them richer. See yourself with that lover and that warm embrace with them. Breathe it in. Become that person. Become that person who is absolutely rich and abundant beyond measure. That person that has the best dream relationship they could ever imagine. Become the thing that you would want it to be. Now experience it. Experience the emotion. Find 1 or 2 moments where you are in the midst of your desire and you're surrounded by this experience. Completely Focus on it. You have all of the abundance that you can handle. There's nothing that you need to say no to, or I can't afford that. And you have the most wonderful relationship. It feels wonderful. You're emotionally in love. Find a time in the future where you are living like this. Experience the emotion. What would you be saying to yourself? What are you thinking to yourself? You have the relationship, you have the money. What are you thinking to yourself? You are a wealthy person right now. You are a person with a dream relationship. If life was like this, what would I be doing tomorrow morning? What would I be get up and do if I had all of the abundance I could have? If I had the loving relationship that I could have? Go there fully right now. Go there fully. Embrace all of it. Experience the emotion. See it and be it. See it and be it. Now you can open your eyes. Now, when you were fully in that experience, was there any thought at all about what you don't want? Did you think about it at all? And that energy that you were feeling before, it's not there anymore, right? The energy maybe you're feeling is not enough, or whatever the case may be. When you create what you want, and I just took you through that, what you do not want would no longer exist. You visualize yourself in the situation that you want to create. And is it true? Would you agree with that? That what you do not want right now, it was not in your imagination at that moment. Do you have that feeling or that sensation right now that if you're in that place you're in right now, that the opposite no longer exists? Who was that person 5 minutes ago? Who is she? Who is he? If you resist what you don't want, it must always stay alive. That's the problem structure. You're avoiding it. You're resisting the pain. You don't want to have any more of it. If you resist what you do not want, it must always stay alive. You're feeding it. You're giving it energy. Regardless if you are giving solution to make it go away, you're giving the problem energy. The stuff that you don't want must always stay with you. So choose to be the predominant creator in your life. You deserve it. Choose to be the creative, powerful force in your life instead of being the predominant disintegrator. The worry. Can I have this? Am I going to do this? The problem structure. Now, this is only a very small portion of understanding the creative structure. And next week, we will go further into the creative structure and how to get yourself out of the problem structure and into more of a creative structure. And I hope you've enjoyed the presentation tonight. It's really, really wonderful to have you all listen to me. And I am so honored to be able to do this as part of Living a Life by Love. And I really hope to see you guys next week. I'm giving these presentations live every single Wednesday. And it is an honor to be able to do it live because this is where you're able to ask questions and really get some insight as to what things are happening in your life and how you can actually understand better where you are and move into more of a creative structure. So I would be really honored for anyone that would like to come and see me live. I'm available on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. You can find me on the Charlotte Meetup. It's called the Law of Attraction is an idea that is incomplete. You will simply go to meetup.com, put the location as Charlotte, and type in the Law of Attraction is an idea that is incomplete. You can also follow me on YouTube, if you're watching this right now, at I am Nicole Rayner. And also you can see my Instagram at I am Nicole Rayner. And then if you want to send an email to me, you're more than welcome to send me an email. I would love to meet any one of you. So my email is nicole@attractinggrace.com. Again, thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great evening. Bye, everyone.